And I think that you have perfectly described the use case scenario of this as well, because at times I am an engineer, by the way, electrical engineer. I have worked with AI and machine learning, but my best friend in the final year project, he worked on something exactly like you are doing, but it wasn't definitely a mass scale project because we had to get our degree. But the problem I found is that most people like us, like technical people, they create a solution, but we cannot relate it to the audience. We know all the technical aspects of it, but we don't relate that to the use case scenario of the product actually to the audience or to the customers. And that's why they feel unrelated or they don't feel the need to get it. And I'm going to come back to the use case scenario of this because I have listed down a few. Before that, I want to ask you, what is the difference between Skai and the normal service that people are using like EagleView and other things?
First differentiator is obviously going to be image resolution. EagleView and Nearmap's other competitors in this space, they're creating their roof measurement reports off of light aircraft or satellite imagery. Most of the ground sampling distance, which is the unit of measurement for pixels essentially in an image they're looking at, is somewhere between 10 and 25 centimeters. In some cases, they can get down to 6 to 8 centimeters. The ground sampling distance on 99% of our imagery is about 1.2 to 1.7 centimeters. So we are really basing everything that we're putting into our AI modeling. We're going to be coming out with roof measurement reports in the near future here. We're basing that off of almost ground truth. We're flying these drones at 250 to 350 feet. In some cases, we'll be even lower. Critical infrastructure typically goes up to about 150, 180 feet. So we want to stay above that. But we kind of view this as a race to the bottom. We want to be able to capture as low as possible. We want to start developing procedures and protocols that will allow us to identify smaller scale hail. We're talking quarter to half inch hail at scale. That's a really key point for us to get to. I would say quality of image is number one. That is our key separator here. Number two is that we're really looking to build this for what roofers want. You touched on the fact that it's tough from an engineering standpoint to create a solution that is based around a user need. And, we've gone in 17 different directions over the last year. But what brings us back to first principles is constant conversation and contact with the players in the industry rather than what we think is in our company's best interest. All of the features, the bells and whistles, the tools that we're creating are based off of conversations that we've had with key industry players. We've got a lot of relationships with guys that are in the commercial industry, do massive commercial re-roofs. We talk to residential roofers on a daily basis. And one of the most important questions we ask in all those conversations is, what can we build into this for you to bring more value to the table for what you're paying for? Obviously, our solution is in its infancy, but being able to ask that question and, have a residential roofer say, hey, I want the ability to be able to just click on a property and drive to it. I want it to export to my Google Maps and go right there. We can build that feature inside a week. And that's the cool thing about being a lean startup is we've got a lot of opportunity to pivot in directions that really, truly provide value for our users. And I just want to touch on one other thing here, Mohammed, is that through all these conversations, we've learned that, large language modeling is really, really difficult to train at scale without having generic outputs. So what we're really building towards, and I touched on this in the outline that I sent over to you, what we want to do is rather than rely on large language learning models, we want to bring in those experts. We're talking to guys like Chad Hedrick in the industry, Cody Klein, tons of residential roofers that view roofing more artistically and who can see what's going on in each of these roofs, whether it's in their geographic location or anywhere for that matter. We want their expertise to shine in what our model outputs. So over the course of it'll probably take a couple years, but we're going to be training our model off of those industry experts. They're going to be evaluating an image speech to text rather training, so that they'll be looking at an image. they'll be able to annotate talking just like I'm doing now and relay that information into what the model will ingest and learn off of. We want to get a little bit more artistic with it because those industry experts, they're the people that can see what is wrong with a roof. And we want our model to be able to think like those experts.
And the best thing is that I was listening to Andrew Tate the other day, and I was looking at one of his clip, and he said that the best thing about a small startup is that you can tell your client that all these big companies, they have other people to serve as well. They won't care about you, but I will fight for you till my last breath, and I'm gonna die for you. Just hire me and see what I can do for you. That is a good thing. And the connection that, like, I am a small business too. I work with the specific market too. And I feel that the connection that we establish with our customers is definitely a leverage as a small business. However, you also mentioned about the race to the bottom, like the quality of image. I think so. These big companies like EagleView, why do you feel they cannot achieve the same quality of image or the same, like you are taking pictures from 100 or 250 feet? So why do you feel, or do you feel that in the first place that they won't be able to achieve the same quality as yours? Or what would be your strategy if they do so?
Yeah, I think the one-to-one connection that we have with people, like you touched on, is the key differentiator right now. You know, we're at a place to where when we sign on a client, it's not we sign, deliver the data, and that's the end of the relationship. Being a young startup, we've got to create our own data that shows, you know, Alan in Texas subscribed to our service. We captured 2 zip codes for him, and over the course of his first 6 months, for his minimum investment, let's say he's paying $750 or $1,500 a month, was able to close 2 roofs a month. His return on that investment was $180,000 in revenue and maybe $65,000 in profit. We're working at the ground level with these contractors, not only to provide the data, but implement it into their practice. And I touched on this before, to play offense in an industry that is so reactionary. You know, everyone's worried about when the next storm is coming through, right? EagleView is always going to be there to provide the roof measurement reports when the storm comes through. I don't think their focus needs to be on capturing imagery at scale, at ground level. I think they're exceptional at what they provide right now. We want to be there to help roofers play offense. We want people to see this as a proactive investment rather than relying on lead generators who may or may not return your phone calls, SEO and marketing specialists, people that, you know, are looking for the people that are searching for the services. Those services they're searching for, it might be somebody that needs 6 shingles replaced. It might be a small leak that needs to be replaced. What we're doing is we're providing the data that allows you to play offense on roofs that not only have damage, but you can kind of pick and choose where you want to close, where you want to focus your efforts. You know, if we come across a 60,000 square foot commercial property that is absolutely run over with mold on top, you know, there's severe membrane degradation, I'm going to put a lot of my resources towards closing that job. You know, I'm not just going to send a guy out there, knock once and say, that's the end of it. I'm probably going to send 2-3 mailers. I'm going to send a guy out there once a week for the next 4 to 6 weeks. I'm going to use that contact information that we're providing, and I'm going to call that commercial property owner or the network of commercial property owners at least a dozen times, because I know that business is there for the taking. And not only that, I'm providing that person value on something they may or may not be aware of. You know, a lot of times we see people connect with these roofing owners and they're like, oh my God, I had absolutely no idea that this was even happening on my roof. You're showing up with a solution that they didn't even know they had a problem.
Perfect. And you know what? I can sense it that you can, the only leverage, like, or the best thing that your business have, if I conclude this, is that you can ask people, or you can make an environment where roofing contractors are working with you to make this product better. And if you can achieve that kind of connection, I think so no competitor, no EagleView, even if they land into this, or no company can come near you, because you have that connection where roofing contractors own Skai and they feel that we need to contribute in its growth.